Come on, you. Come on, Trouble. What you got? Your ball? Oh, got crap all over it. Happy New Year. 2021. A year to forget the last one. 2020, obviously a year of pandemic, coronavirus and all the stuff that we want to leave behind. But for some, like myself, it was a year to remember. As you've seen in other videos, so I've got my German Shepherd, and I started off obviously having him as a pet and training him as a pet, and it's the first time that I've had a dog of my own, and I enjoyed the training so much I wanted to see how far I could push him. Now there's obviously different types of training that you can do, and so far that you can take certain dogs. Now obviously if you've got spaniels and things like that, they're very good sniffers. If you've got something like Doberman, German Shepherd, Rottweilers, they're normally very good protection dogs. As someone that's already in the security industry, going down the security route was probably a good idea for me. So really the industry that I'm in, that I obviously speak to people that are key holders, people that go to sites when there is trouble, when incidents happen, etc. So it made sense for me, if I was going to go down the dog route, obviously having a German Shepherd already, that the protection and security industry would be something that I'd be interested in. So when the pandemic hit and I got furloughed from work, I decided to use my time constructively and take the chance in my time off to really put the work in if I was going to go down this route. Now the first thing I had to do was speak to people that I knew that was already in the industry. So I've got some good friends at Prestige Guarding, and I spoke to them regarding what their dog handlers are required to have, what kind of training they do, who they use for their training and things like that. And thankfully they was nice enough to put me on to the websites and the stuff that they use in order to get their handlers or even their key holders trained and certified. So the first thing I had to do was get an SIA license. So the SIA license, there are different ones. There's a security guarding one, which is the one that I wanted. There's also a doorman one that you can have, that also allows you to work on doors of nightclubs. So you'll normally see bouncers and people like that have it on. The security guarding one is the one that I wanted. That allows me to do the stuff with the dog and be certified to do that stuff. So they put me onto the Get Licensed website. So the Get Licensed website is what it says. It's different areas in which you can get licenses for vast amounts of things, but one of them is the security guarding website. So I went on there. I done, I think it's a 2-day course, with the third day being an exam that you have to pass. I think I've done 9 to 5 on 2 days, and then an exam in the morning, and then obviously you pass or you fail the exam. So because of the pandemic, I was able to do it over Zoom as well, which was pretty helpful, to be fair. That means I could do it at home, obviously take breaks, and obviously during that time as well I didn't have to worry about social distancing and the course maybe getting put off due to a positive test or anything like that. So that was very helpful. So the next thing I needed was a trainer. Now obviously you go to your pet classes and the things that I'd done with Cooper already, which was obviously the sits, the downs, the lays, just becoming a pet. And for what I wanted out of him at the time, I got it. So his obedience was average to good. I think for a dog as hyper as he is, I think I would find it quite hard for him to be 100% obedient all the time. He has his own mind. He likes to go and do something if it's more fun. So playing ball with me is fun, but once he's got the ball, if there's a dog chasing a ball somewhere else, that's more fun. So I think trying to get that under control is tough, but in certain circumstances it's good to have as well, because that means he's driven and he is not a high drive dog, but when I get up and I'm going to do something, he wants to do it as well. So it's not when I get up he's like, oh yeah, shall I, shan't I? So the guy I was put on to is called Terry Judge, does TJ Security Guarding School, I think. And on my first day I went there, he said just come down and we'll have a look at your dog, see what he's like, see if he's got what it takes. Now what I didn't understand at the time and I think it's important for a lot of other people to understand, is that just because you've got a Doberman, a Rottweiler, a German Shepherd, it doesn't necessarily mean that they've got what it takes to be a security dog. Yes, your dog may bark at people when they come to the door, they may bark at people that are around you, but it's the protection side, that if that person comes at you, will the dog stand there, or will the dog... It's like the fight or flight. So will the dog stand there and fight, or will the dog run away, basically? And what I've seen online with a lot of videos, that people say, yeah, my dog would defend me, and then they do like a false attack. And it's surprising how many dogs, especially German Shepherds, Rottweilers, that have had the aggression suppressed into them, will actually run away. Please tell me you didn't just drop that ball down there. Oh, idiot. Did you just drop your ball down there? Again? Is that another ball gone? Dipstick. Well, I don't think we're getting that one back, mate, unless the rabbits bring it back. What did you do? Is that another ball gone? So on my first day at the training, obviously brought the dog down, and they had a look at him, and I think this was like the last week of July. So they had a look at him. I also had a good chance to chat with some security trainers or some security dog handlers that were there. Later on I'd find out that they're trainers, and I actually took the time to find out what the job is as well, and find out if it was something that I wanted to do. I think with this, a lot of people think it's a good idea, and they think it's something they want to do, but then when they start hearing stories, they sort of back out a little bit. And speaking to them, yes, some of the stories can be a little bit grim, but I think when you take into account that these stories are with people with, I don't know, 10, 20 years plus, when they use not the same stories all the time to bring up points, but when the same story is used for different circumstances, to me that kind of means that it doesn't happen often enough for it to be a constant thing. Yes, depends what site you work, depends where you're working, depends what your dog is like, to how dangerous the situation would be. But after speaking to them, I thought, well, it's something that I can cope with. Mentally, I'm pretty strong. I'm not someone that gets scared easy. Although I'm not the most confrontational person, I think that works in your favour, because if you're like me and you can stay level-headed, that also gives you a chance of staying away from confrontation and possibly not having to use the dog, hopefully. What? There's nothing I can do. I can't get it. You'll have to get it. So what did they think of my dog? So he's a pet. That's basically what they were saying to me. They was trying to wind him up. They was trying to get him to play tug with rags and things like that. And because of the way I trained him, he was more interested in chatting, or not chatting. He was more interested in playing with the other dogs, seeing what the other dogs were doing. There was a point where they had one of the dogs that was tugging on the rag. The trainer come over to my dog, and my dog was looking at the other dog, and even when the trainer was putting the rag over his face, he still wouldn't turn and look at him. So basically what I got told was there's nothing there at the moment. Not saying there couldn't be, but there was nothing there at that time. So it would take a lot of hard work, but if you put the time in and try, he gave me about a month to 5 weeks to see if we could get something out of him and just get a spark. A bit like something you'd see in like a professional athlete. It's not necessarily the best at the time that the scouts pick up on. It's just that spark where they think, he's got something, possibly we can get something out of it. So I put a lot of hard work in over the 4 or 5 weeks I was turning up to training. I was also doing an hour or two every day. Now, when you think protection dog, you obviously think about being confronted and people getting bitten the dog being aggressive. Now, what I was told very early on, that there's a difference between an aggressive dog and a protection dog. An aggressive dog will defend itself and is unpredictable. A protection dog is a confident dog that, when needed, on command, will protect you. I think that's where a lot of people get very confused, and obviously members of the public as well, is that they see police dogs and dogs like that and they think, well, they're just aggressive dogs. They're not, but if they're triggered or they're asked to, yes, they will show some aggression, but that's controlled, and that's what the protective part's about. And I think the most important thing I wanted was to have a level-headed protection dog. So a dog that I knew he could be okay around people, but also I know that if I need him to, he can be protective. Now there are other skills that the dog needs to do as well. You've obviously got the protection side, which is obviously the defending you against an attacker. There's the patrol, so that's obviously the job would be to patrol an area, and it's the dog's job to find someone on site if they're hiding. Now, a lot of the stories that you get told is that you'll just be walking through, and if your dog is trained the right way, it will just automatically detect. You may not hear or see anyone, but the dog can smell them. Now, obviously, we know that dogs' noses are so much better than ours, and it's that patrol. So it's going out, doing a patrol, and the dog all of a sudden saying, hold on, there's someone over there, or there's something over there, we need to go and check it out. There's also the article search, which is basically something that we do where you've gone out and done a patrol, get back to the van, lost your keys, go back out, dog finds your keys, go back. Now obviously that helps in criminal stuff as well. So if someone breaks into a site and on their way out of running they've dropped screwdrivers, tools, anything, you can then hopefully possibly assist the police, where you can go on their track and the dog will find anything that the burglars or robbers, whatever you want to call them, have been using to break in. That's obviously evidence for the police. Not necessarily going to be needed, but it's always handy to have. And like I say, if you're out and you get back to the van in January, freezing cold, and you ain't got your keys, you're going to want the dog to try and find them. It was important for me that I wanted to get all of this stuff down and not be one of them dog handlers that just wants the dog to be able to bite and protect. How's this coming along? See now what? See, look what you've done now. Look, what you've done now is you've enclosed it. Huh? Good. So what you've done now is you've closed the hole up. So now how are you going to get to it? You're going to do this, are you? He is not giving in. He's going to get that ball back. I'll leave you to that. So after the 5 weeks, there was a spark. He started to spark, and he started to tug, and there was some protection in there. Now, we've done some different types of scenarios. Somewhere, not that I would get attacked, but I would go up and try and do a search. I get attacked, see who the dog runs to. Does the dog run to me, or does the dog run to the attacker? And what happens when he gets to him? Fast forward a few months with lots of training, lots of going to training, and obviously stuff at home, I was ready to start my NASDO. Now the NASDO is what you need as part of the dog part of dog handling. So the SIA is for you to become a security officer. The NASDO part of it is for you to be able to work with a dog as a dog handler. And the only reason I started it was because I was told that the dog was ready. Now, it's very easy for trainers to take your money and string out your NASDO. Once you start your NASDO, the dog has 6 months to be able to pass, and yourself, because there is an exam, but you have 6 months to do it. Now, I didn't want to start my NASDO unless I knew that in the 6 months I was going to be able to pass. But ideally I wanted to pass as quick as I could, but obviously I have to do the 60 hours of training that's required by the NASDU. And fast forwarding again to doing them 60 hours, we passed our NASDU and we became NASDU certified dog. Well, I became a certified NASDU dog handler, and that bundle of trouble over there became a NASDU security dog. Now I haven't started doing any work yet. I only passed my NASDU just before Christmas, so I haven't really got any stories of what it's like to work on sites. But what I wanted to do was just give a little insight to what it's taken me to get to this point. To get a pet to a protection dog is not easy. Luckily enough, I started him young enough, so although I'd suppressed a lot of the protection stuff that's natural to a German Shepherd, I hadn't done it so much that it couldn't be reversed. Now I know that a lot of trainers you can't start really working or training the dog until they're about 1, but it starts from puppy, just creating drive with rags and tug. Not obviously with puppies, you don't tug so it nearly pulls their teeth out, it's just little play and creating drive and making them chase stuff. And the ball's been my friend, so although he's just lost it down a rabbit hole, the ball has been my friend because that's his drive. If I've got the ball, I can get him to do anything. I can get him to heel, to walk. I can take him out on the street and walk him, and he always wants to be in front like he's on a patrol. Always wants to be in front. Never goes at people. I trust him 100% walking in front of me. But as soon as I've got that ball, I can get him to stick to my leg. And in terms of like the article search, if I've got his ball and I say find, that's it. He's driven to find the object so that he gets his ball. So as a puppy, it's very important to create drive with rags and little tugs, but also create drive with a ball, so that when it comes to things like article search, they're driven to do it. He does get bored with article search once you do a lot of it. Once I've done sort of 5 or 6, but the initial having the ball and creating drive is there. So obviously when you're out on a site, you're not going to be doing it for hours. You're only going to be doing it hopefully to find a few things, and then that's it done. So creating drive with a ball with little rags is important, but like I say, you can't start doing the stuff until it's about 1 year old. So that's my story of how I've become a dog handler. It took about 6 months. It took a lot of hard work, and it took training, probably me training him 3 times a week plus training days as well. It is a lot of hard work. It's very rewarding, and the reason that I wanted to do this was because I always wanted to work with dogs, and since I've had him and I've enjoyed the training, he enjoys doing it as well, and I think it's going to be something that I'd really enjoy and really want to do. A few people I need to thank are obviously Prestige, who helped me get my SAA licence, put me on to the trainer, Terry Judge, Shane and Paul at the training. They've been great with me, they've been patient. I've probably been a pain in the arse for them, from the first day when I turned up with shorts, t-shirt and trainers on, to now turning up with boots and all the proper stuff. They've been patient with me, even though I've probably been a bit of a pain, but obviously they've really helped me as well. So hopefully get some work in, start working at this year, and then we'll go from there. Hope you like this video. I'll try and do some more of these and just keep you up to date with our progress. And just to end the video, we'll see how he's progressed. How have you progressed in finding this ball? Lost it? Come on in, let's go and find another one. Come on in, let's go. Come on. Come on in. On the ball? Come on in. Yeah, boy. Woohoo. Come on in, let's go.